Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sister Candace Growing in Grace. I have spoke before about my papa, who was a Baptist pastor, and that's him when he was young. I want to thank God again for my goodly heritage and for my Christian home. My devotional today is something we've already talked about this week, and I'm sorry that I missed yesterday. I've been dealing with some stuff. God knows all about it. He's with me, and I'm thankful that I serve a living God. I serve the same God, as I said the other day, the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the same God they worshipped. My God is real. He's real in my life. He's real in my actions. He's real in my love for God's people. He's in my heart for the love for those that don't know the Lord. That is always my prayer. This will go out to somebody that it'll help, or it'll reach somebody that's lost and undone without God. Study to show thyself approved. You know, even the devil knows the Bible. Let me say that. Even Satan himself knows the Word of God. I will say that the last few days have been very, very hard in my grief. They come usually 2 or 3 at a time. And God's with me. He knows all about it. He's holding my hand. He'll never leave me nor forsake me, but that don't change my heart and the way I'm feeling and what I'm going through. And I do appreciate all my subscribers that pray for me. I pray for all of y'all. I pray for all the prayer requests that's on the prayer list. But it comes from Daniel chapter 3 again that we read last week, this week, when God had gave me a thought. And it's entitled The Blazing Furnace. And it's Daniel, which is in the Old Testament. It's chapter 3, verse 17. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O King. So they were trusting, and they were holding on to God wasn't going to leave them alone. God couldn't actually let these three godly... God wouldn't let these 3 godly men actually die. And that's why I know if God was with them, he's with me. God wouldn't actually let these 3 godly men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, be thrown into the furnace, would he? Their bold clarification surely was just an act of defense to the king Nebuchadnezzar's typically order to worship his golden statue. Surely God would provide a way of escape, but he didn't. Or at least not in the way they had probably hoped. By avoiding that furnace, images imagine their thoughts of Nebuchadnezzar's fury was unleashed, and he ordered the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter than usual. Imagine how they felt as they were bound in highly flammable clothing and carried into the furnace. Imagine the terror they felt as the guards who were ordered to throw them into the furnace perished from the heat. Had God abandoned Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Hardly. Nebuchadnezzar looked into the furnace and found the 3 men walking around unbound and unharmed, along with a 4th man. Scholars believe this was Jesus. Too often we think that our faith should keep us out of the furnace. A health crisis, financial worries, conflict in our families. But being in the furnace doesn't mean that God has abandoned us. As promised in Hebrews 13:5, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. He will be right there in the furnace with us. Hebrews is in the New Testament. Hebrews is between Philemon and James, but we're going to Hebrews 13:5. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he hath said, I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. And verse 6 says, so that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear. What man shall do unto me? I don't fear man. The Bible tells us not to fear man. And not to fear what they can do unto us. And in verse 7 it says, remember them which have rule over you, who have spoken unto you the word of God, whose faith follow, considering the end of their conversation. Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. Verse 9, be not carried about with divers and strange doctrines, for it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace, not with meats, which have not profited them that have them, that have been occupied therein. And I will read the verse again that says, "For that we may say boldly, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me." And I'll say it again, I do not fear. I do not live in fear. I serve a living God, like I told y'all when I had the thought of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I serve the same God, and He's alive, He's real. God is alive and the devil is a liar. And He's with His children, and we're going to suffer persecution, y'all. And like I said, the devil knows the Word of God. He knows it. And that's why I encourage you to study and to memorize verses that you can hold on to. The title was The Blazing Furnace, and it was out of Daniel chapter 3. Go read that chapter. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here for me, for praying for me, and remember, I'm praying for y'all. May God bless.